And we are live. Good morning, good afternoon. It's good afternoon for us, isn't it, Anna?
Yes,
Yeah.
thank you. Good
Good
afternoon.
evening for those of you who are watching the replay at night or watching it today and it's evening. Hi, Anna. Lovely to have you here again. How are you?
I'm very well, Karen. Good afternoon, good evening, and good morning around the world. It's so lovely to see you again, Karen.
And we had to put it off once because I wasn't organised. So I was going to be last week, wasn't it? However, we're here. It's still July, which is great because we have a commitment to do them every month, don't we, Anna? To do these meaningful conversations once a month. And I just love them because they are so relaxed and enjoyable, and I feel really at peace with doing them. I enjoy listening to you, and with your pearls of wisdom and gold nuggets you share as well. And so I very much enjoy our conversations.
Karen, thank you so much for your time and the program that you run. And being part of your work is an honor for me. And I don't know how you can be more organized because you're working, collaborating with so many people. You are big leaders and everyone admire you. And the liveliness, the enthusiasm, the love for life that radiated from you, inspire me so deeply. So I'm not sure how more well organized. And I think everyone have that level of standard. Yeah.
Yeah,
You set certain standard and you achieve, you aim for higher standard for yourself. And
yes,
and that's why to me, that is a really high standard that you set already. Um, and I look up and I would work toward that. You inspire me so. But when you say you don't feel like you're there yet, that means to me you have a bigger goal. You still have the next level of excellence to achieve, which is even more amazing. So thank you for sharing that. And also, that is the vulnerability that you would share. Like everyone would have certain things about themselves that they're not happy with for some weird reason. Other people look up to you, but you still don't feel like I'm there yet, right?
always. Thank you, Anna. Always, always. And before we went live on this call, you were saying to me about feeling inferior, which is our discussion today. Feeling inferior towards your goals or towards others who are more successful,
Mm.
and it can be a block. And you said, "Oh, it has probably never happened to you, Karen." Well, of course it has, because these are human feelings. Everybody has that feeling of fear or doubt or inferiority at some point or many points in our lives. And actually, it's what helps us to move forward, because if we're not feeling that doubt or that inferiority in some way, and that, by the way, that inferiority, I want to say, that is to be addressed. We can talk at that, okay?
Yeah, sure.
Because nobody is inferior, and it's unproductive, and it doesn't serve our goals or our vision moving forward to have those feelings and look at other people and compare ourselves and say, well, I'm not as good as them, because comparison is actually one of the most damaging things that we can do for ourselves. However, even the most successful people in life, people who are actresses, and not that I say necessarily they're the most successful, but people who are so accustomed to being out there in the public eye, beautiful singers, vocalists, musicians, all experience that fear before they go on stage. And in fact, of course, the adrenaline and cortisol that it produces help us to perform well. So thank you for bringing that up, Anna, and thank you for saying perhaps I didn't. However, yes, I have. And with some of the things, I've got that story I talk about with my dad teaching me to ride a motorcycle again, and I was afraid, even though I'd ridden it for probably 20 years, probably, well, not, I'd ridden one for a long, long time, many, many years, and then I'd stopped for 20 years. And I was afraid to go back, to get back on and take off and have my feet not touching the ground, and I wouldn't move. And my dad, because my dad said, come on, I'll help you get your confidence back, because we all decided to ride again together. My brother, my father and I are now, he was over 60, about 65, and I was in my 40s, and my brother was similar age. And I said, he said, what are you doing? What are you doing? Why aren't you moving? And I said, I'm scared. And he said, what are you scared of? And I said, well, I'm scared I'll drop it, drop the motorcycle, because I was on my tippy toes. It was too tall for me. And he said, Karen, it's all in your head. And so that's the thing, is that these things we're afraid of might never happen. So going back to you, Anna, thank you for bringing up this topic around feeling inferior towards your goals or towards others whom people may assume for some silly reason they don't even know, or maybe they do know. Maybe these people are very successful. What you can contribute to this, what you would like to say to kick off the conversation even today, even more.
Karen, first of all, I just really want to acknowledge the story you just told. It sounds so lovely and so cute to have a 40-year-old lady still getting guided by her dad to ride a bicycle. Yes. And that is like,
a motorcycle, Anna, not a bicycle. Motorcycle.
Okay. A motorcycle. It's fair enough. I thought a bicycle was like, but
no,
motorcycle, yes. Okay, that is a big motorbike that I see the picture of you on on your profile. That's fair enough. That is intimidating.
Well, it wasn't for me really, except I was a bit afraid at that time. However, as soon as my dad said to me, it's all in here, it changed everything for me, because I was like, right, well, if it's not real and it's all in here, I'm going to prove I can do it. And straight away I did it, right?
Yes. Yeah. Okay. So like you said, everything happened inside, in the mind, before it happened in real life. So if we say it in our mind that I am not good enough, everyone is better than me, they will judge me because I am not good enough. Compared to them, I have nothing to show. So that is the inferiority, isn't it? Basically, fear of judgment showing up itself in so many different ways. Yeah. So at the end of the day, because we live with other people, we cannot live by ourselves on the island.
Yeah.
We live with people. And as soon as we live with people, we will worry what other people think about me. And so I don't think anyone can avoid that feeling of being judged one way or another. We were judged by our parents growing up, and then to the school, friends and teachers, and at work and friends, everybody, everywhere we go, there will be always someone who we look at them and we say, I'm better than that person in one way or another. And then we look at another people and we say, I'm not as good as that person. There's always that comparison happening in our mind. And I happen to be affected by that without even knowing. For years, I was the underdog. Yeah, so my story was the story of the underdog, and always feeling like everyone around me is better than me.
Right.
Better in terms of economically better, or educations are better, look better, more talented than me. I seem to always admire people. And that's why I look at people who have, success, and I always feel like it's for them, not for me. Yeah. To the point of, talking to the teacher was scary. Talking to the teacher was scary for me. And there's no chance that I would talk to the headmaster. I'm scared because they're too big. Yeah. So if I want to learn something from them, but I'm scared of them because I feel I have nothing to be to stand in front of them and talk. And if they ask me a question I can't answer, then I will feel really awkward. And that feeling stopping me from really approaching people and
Mm,
learn the right way. Yeah. So I end up staying with my peer or maybe working with someone I feel like I can help them.
yeah.
And that limits my growth. So I can only help as much as where I was.
Mm,
But I have to put one hand up in order to take one hand down,
mm.
like we have to do that. I only learned that later on in my life. I didn't even know what to call it. Fear. Didn't even know the name of that kind of fear in order to find a way to overcome it. Do you know?
That's interesting. So basically, when you're at school with the teacher or the headmaster, especially, you wanted to be invisible, didn't you?
That's right. Yeah.
To them, yeah.
Mm.
And it's all of that. Isn't that interesting? All of that that you've just described has come from your belief systems that you were fed by your family and your parents. And it's interesting because I was the complete opposite. I was somehow given that confidence by my dad to stand up to the headmistress. I had a headmistress. I went to a girls only private
Mm.
college in New Zealand in Lower Hutt, and she was a pretty formidable woman, and yet I had the confidence to challenge her a lot and stand up to her and say what I thought, which is quite interesting, isn't it? That it all comes from our beliefs back there. It all comes from back there. And yet neither were right or wrong, by the way, because the beliefs our parents give us are not necessarily right or wrong.
Mm.
It's just that my dad gave me a belief to question everything and to question, why that particular rule was in place, or, was that really something that served us? And so, that made me a different kind of person. However, the fear is still there. I would still probably have a bit of fear, but I was bold enough to stand up to people in authority. So, but with the fear is something that really does, as you say, hold most people back, and our ego as well, which is the part of us. There's two parts of our brain or our mind, as you know, and the ego part is coming from the very oldest part of the brain, the limbic part of the brain that wants to keep us just not doing anything except breathing and surviving.
Mm.
And so when we start to think, oh, I'd like to do something more, I'd like to step out and venture out and do something big, that part of our brain is the part that comes in and gives us all sorts of reasons why we are better off to stay where we are. And as you say, it'll say things like, it will bring up things like, oh, do you think you should do that? They're better than you. You ought to stay safe here, and otherwise you might make a fool of yourself.
That's right.
Or why would people take any notice of you when there are experts much better than you out there saying whatever, speaking their level of expertise, and you don't know half the things, or. And many of us listen to that part of our mind, that, as you call it, your ego, and we let it stop us. We simply let it stop us. We go, oh, well, okay, it's a bit too hard, or maybe I'll do it later. It's not quite the right time yet. Or any of those decisions that we come to because stepping out is too hard. So how do we deal with it? Let's talk a little bit about the fear. So we know, when I speak, the effect that fear has on the human race. So fear can be induced in many ways as well if you want to actually affect people. So we know about times when that has happened recently, where it's been subjected to humans on a mass scale with fear mongering. So what I want to remind us of, and I'm sure you know this already, Anna, is that we're motivated as humans in two ways. We either move toward the carrot or we move away from the big stick.
Mm.
Yeah. And so that's just a natural way that we're biased towards. Some people would rather have something they want to, they're motivated by something they want to move away from, and other people are motivated by a carrot, you know, what's the word? Excuse me, by an incentive. However, if we change our perspective, what does it do to our life? If we change our perspective around fear, what does it do to our life? It'll change our life. So
Definitely. I love your story. You know, like you got your dad as a mentor almost in the early age, and that's so critical. So you grew up, you have a healthier way of approaching people, because if you are not scared of authority, then no one around you can be so scary or too big for you to approach them when you want something done, or you wanted to have a conversation and get things done with people. In my case, it's the opposite. And I felt like I didn't have a mentor like that in my life. We came from like difficult time after the war. So mom and dad were busy trying to, feed the four of us. So the time that I grew up, that I basically digging the hole by myself to just survive and get on with it and get over with it. Didn't even know what's going on underneath. Didn't have any label to call this is the fear of judgment, and this is the fear of, this is the ego that talking or whatever. So only up to like 6 or 7 years ago, before I left my last job, after 6 or 7 jobs, different industry, I did everything alone, didn't have a mentors in any way. And with just that strong desire to make life better, that drive me, like you say, the carrot, just that strong desire to get a better way of life. And then in the last 6 or 7 years, I felt like I didn't quite know why I'm doing this. I'm working hard, but my life result is still like this. And I'm so inferior in terms of, like, if I talk to my boss, I feel like he's the mountain and I am nobody, always feel that kind of, that heart beats fast when you talk to superior. And that I didn't even know that is the massive setback. Didn't have the mentor like you do. Okay. And then now you can mentor a lot of people and you can tell them, oh, it's okay. Like at your level of success, you can help a lot of people. And you don't feel like they are inferior or superior or anything, because you just care about their journey of success, don't you?
Yes.
I didn't know that. I just thought they're so successful. I have nothing to show, so they wouldn't spend time with me. I was in that older version, which is just like 46 or 47 years old. I call it older version. I wouldn't sit here having this conversation with you if I didn't learn and I didn't change. And that is the story of changing the mindset, like you said.
Wow, you have come
My old version of 5 years ago wouldn't sit here and talking to Karen, because in my mind at that time would think Karen would not spend time with me. She is way ahead of me. She is so amazing. She's so beautiful. Nowhere that I can sit with her. She would not spend time with me. And that's the old version. And how would that put a stop on my growth?
Yes.
Just that alone. And later on, when I met people who can show me how to create build asset-based income, I can, help me help other people create that result, then I realized they don't care about how big I am, how small I am. They just care about how I want to change my life, and they're willing to help, just like you. Yeah. That's all you care when you work with someone, whether they wanted to do something better for their life, and you're there, you're willing to help.
Yes.
But I didn't know that. And so, and when we learn about the fear of judgment, showing up itself in that, in that inferiority, like showing up itself as I am small, I'm nobody, I am not worthy to receive anything bigger or receive something worthy. And then when I stopped myself, I couldn't receive guidance, couldn't receive mentorship, couldn't receive, the teaching, and even couldn't receive the method to get where I wanted. So that was my contribution to our conversation. Like, it's silly, it's just in here, but
Yeah.
now
But
I would
you,
hear you sharing how you help people overcome that.
sorry. You know what, Anna? A lot of people listening to you will identify with that. So it's really great that you've shared it.
Mm-hmm.
And I just want to acknowledge you for having come such a long way from where your roots were and where your culture put you. And you realized, I don't want to live like this anymore. And you also realized that it was up to you. This is the thing, it's up to us. No one else is going to do it for us. No one else is going to come up to you and say, oh, hey, or would have come up to you and said, hi, Anna, I can see that you have a fear of judgment and that you don't feel worthy to talk to the people, at the top of the executive rung, because you feel inferior, so I can help you. No one's going to do that. And I guess many people probably, because that perspective is so ingrained, many people actually just keep on the treadmill and living that way. However, there are those people like you, Anna, who suddenly go, I don't want to live like this anymore. What else can I do? And you started looking for ways to change your life, to change your outcome, to overcome those limiting beliefs that were holding you back. And you have done so well. So really, I want to acknowledge that. And I know that you acknowledge it yourself as well, which is so important for us to take a look back sometimes and acknowledge what's brought us to this here now point in our lives, because this here now point is made up of all of those not so great or challenging or even we might say failures, but I call it feedback. Not so great experiences has brought us to this here now point where you and I can have this conversation together as equals, and start to really live life the way that we're meant to live, the way that the universe wants us to have more, the way that the universe is providing more for us. Because there are also those beliefs around, oh, I shouldn't want more. I shouldn't want abundance in my life. I shouldn't want to be wealthy. I should be happy with what I've got, And I say to people, there's no such word as should in our vocabulary. And the universe actually wants for every one of us to do the job we're here to do, which is more, which is a big job. It's not that small thing that most of us are actually doing most of the time on the treadmill. So a couple of things that I want to suggest. First of all, is I'd say to any of my clients or anyone that I'm coaching, anyone who I'm coaching, don't tell me what you can't do. If anyone starts telling me what they can't do, I say, don't tell me what you can't do. Tell me what you can do. And so then we go to the fear. And when it comes up, I say, I would say, I promised I would give some ways to get out of it. And one of them is, how about take that fear and put it in a box? Okay, yes, I feel fear, but I'll just put it in a box for now. Because let me tell you, fear, what is fear? Fear is simply the border of the reality you have known, and you're moving forward into another reality of a life that you would love, and you don't know how to quite get there yet. So if you come up against fear, you know that you're actually moving out to have more, be more, do more. What do you think, Anna?
I love that, putting fear in a box. It physically we create that image of a box and then block it in. My mentors often say fear is the abbreviation for false evidence
Yes.
real
Yes.
appear to be real or something like that. So,
Yes. Yes.
and the emotion is very similar to faith, right?
Mm.
Both these words are very powerful because they're both thinking about something in the future.
Mm.
One think about the future that the positive future, the future that we want. We have faith, and one thinking about the future, but thinking about the future we don't want. So what you touched is exactly that. How um, don't talk about things you don't want anymore. Talk about things that you want.
Yes.
Don't talk about things that you can't do. Talk about things you can do. So want and can become the faith.
Yes.
Can't and don't want become the fear, right?
Yes.
And
Yes.
I think I really like this. I reread the book The Go Giver by Bob Burke and John David Mann. That book shared the 5 values, and the very important values is giving. If you want to create a successful business, give to your customer, give in abundance, and you will yield the results you want. But the last values in that book is receptivity. And when I read that the first time, which is 6 or 7 years ago, I was like, that is me. I couldn't receive. I thought of
Yes.
myself as just so small, I don't deserve to
Mm.
receive.
Mm.
And at that point, I thought receiving is just receiving from other people giving you things.
Mm.
But I read it again, I see another meaning.
Yes.
Receive means allow yourself to want more in life.
Yes. Yes.
That is
Oh,
amazing meaning that I didn't
yes.
see the first time.
Oh, wow.
Allow yourself to want more in life, to
Mm.
have a desire outcomes and say, I can make it happen, rather than reduce the outcome to meet with what the status quo is. Say, I can't do it, so I better just
Mm.
shrink my wish. So receiving means not just receiving the gift or a word or a kind word by others, but wanting more in your life is living by that law of receptivity. And once we
Mm.
want more, we allow ourselves to want more, then we may have more. But if we
Mm.
don't want it, then there's no chance. So with that,
I love that
I
quote.
think.
Allowing ourselves to want more.
Mhm.
That's the crux of it, is allowing ourselves to want more. That is a
Mhm.
beautiful quote.
Not
And
just more material, could be the
no.
more freedom to do what we
Mm.
love,
Mm.
more meaning in lives, more, like this meaningful
Abs-
relationship. There's so
Absolutely.
many more things that is just wonderful, like more exploring of the world. Doesn't have to be, more cars or more house. It doesn't have to
Yes.
be that way, but having that time to do what we love, more time in our day to do what we love.
Yes.
How's that?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, that's fantastic. And of course, I go back to what I always go back to every time, is that the importance of the importance of having specific clarity
Mhm.
around that, what that specific more is. Because
Yeah.
if you just say, I want more, the universe doesn't know what more means for you, because more for you is different for me. Like you say, more for one person might be more abundance in one area, and for yours it might be more fulfillment and more peace or whatever it is. And so
Mhm.
it's so important to know what that future that you would love more of is like in specific terms, and
Mhm.
so that then you can put it out there and say, I want this, I want this, I want this. And in fact, I always talk about, we write that in as if it's already happened. So we don't actually say what we say, I'm so happy and grateful now that I have this, right? And when then the fear will come up when we start to take steps to do that. And it's really important. Like I said, the fear is simply the border of the reality of that life you have known. And then that vision that lives beyond that border, when you're right there, that's when the fear comes up. And so if you want to learn once again how to deal with that, a great way to do it is to put it in a box. So, okay, I feel afraid. I'll put it in this box. And then focus, like you said, Anna, on what you are going for, what you're aiming for to achieve, and focus on that dream, that goal, that vision, that life whenever the fear comes up, and it makes it dissipate. That is one of the ways to get rid of that fear, is to focus on what you want and to say, no, I'm doing it. I've made the decision, I'm doing it, and then take action, because taking action will also dissipate the fear. I find taking action, when I overwhelm and dealing with fear, taking action, if you feel afraid, oh my goodness, but you push, I don't like to use the word push, but you do things to be taking action. Once you've done it, the feeling of fear goes away completely.
And as well, have someone holding your hand, a mentor, or the environment. Like I now associate with people who are doing things, and you're part of that, and you think it's normal.
Yes.
No, so many of your friends are doing the same thing. So why is it so scary for you? Have that peer, that going places, and the collective force can help a great deal. So the winning environment mentors is like when many of us, by the time we reach about 20, we think, oh, that's it. We don't need mentorship. And I did the same. I didn't have mentorship, and I don't think I need it. But now I acknowledge the fact that I don't always know the way ahead. I don't always have the answer. So I would rather listen to someone who ahead of me, who has the result I want in life, and just have a conversation with them, save me millions of hours trying to pull my hair, trying to figure out the answer. When I just say, hey, mentor, tell me, or hey, a friend, someone, like I come to you, I can ask a question. I'm sure it saved me a lot of readings and a lot of hours of fiddling around. Say, so that value of mentorship I didn't appreciate before. Or even if I know, I say I wouldn't reach out because I feel scared. I feel like, oh, what do I have to show? Or would you judge me as I have nothing when you are so big? Then I'll feel I can't reach out to you. But now I think differently. Say, reach out, because they are really happy to share their success principle. People who are successful, they know where you come from, and they know the journey. They understand all of this. So successful, like you say, your life meaning is about helping other people to become successful. Yeah, and that gives you a lot of joy. So it's not just like I don't need to feel inferior anymore. When I understood that, and that understanding comes from that journey of stepping out and start to do something so uncomfortable until I become more comfortable, and then they encouraged me to do the next step, do the next uncomfortable things, so you can reach to the next comfortable level later. Yeah.
Isn't it amazing how that happens when, in the beginning, that thing that you're uncomfortable with? And that's the other thing I like to say is you've got to be willing to be uncomfortable to move forward into that next stage, that part of your life that you want to move forward. And you've got to have a willingness to feel discomfort. And then, it's helpful to bring your awareness to fear. It's impossible not to have some fear, because that's how we operate as humans. So we'll all have some fear as soon as we decide that we're going to go to the next level in something that we're not completely comfortable with. And so one way, I say to deal with the fear is to befriend your fear. And the way you honor fear's presence is to kick it out of the driver's seat, right? So in order to advance confidently toward that vision or that that part of your life that you want a different outcome in, do it by befriending your fear, but kicking it out of the driver's seat. And then the next step is to allow that outcome you're going for to flourish by creating the environment that's necessary for it to unfold.
Mm. Now you remind me, maybe I'll say this and then you can wrap up. Time flies when we have fun talking. Like my daughter, for example, I now know what I went through. I didn't want that to happen to my daughter. So whenever she wants something, I say, be clear. You can't say, I want more. I say, more of what? Even if I love her so much, if she just say, I want more, but I don't know specifically what she want more of from me, I can't give her. I can't give her what she wants. So I say, be clear, you want exactly what you want. And then never feel, you need anything, come straight to mommy and ask for it. Even sweet. She know that, sweet is not good for her. So we have it in moderation. But if you really have that desire, just come to mommy. Don't think that, oh, I shouldn't ask because I'm scared. No, ask for it. You never know. When you ask, you might have a chance, 50% chance of having it. So just whatever you want, be specific, be clear about it. And I say that to my daughter. And go straight to your teacher. Talk about it. Put your hand up. Whatever you want, be clear. Otherwise, the teacher won't give you any attention. She doesn't know what you want, even if she has a lot to give you. But if you don't ask, you don't know. She doesn't know your need in order to give it to you. Yeah. So similar to that. And in life, it's exactly the same. But why didn't I know that? When we know it's simple, but when we didn't know, it's so confusing. I was like swimming in the ocean, knowing no direction, and just pick whatever feel right at the moment at a time. But now I have my mentors helping me identify that clearly where I'm heading. What is the end goal? What is the end goal? Tell me your end goal. Until I got clear of that, and then say, okay, now I can show you how to get there. It's so much easier that way. Yeah, that's all I wanted to wrap up today. Thank you.
That's wonderful, Anna. And, your daughter is very fortunate that you are bringing her up in a different way, not criticizing your parents because they did the best they could. However, you've got two cultures that you're learning from, and you've taken the best out of both, I'm sure. And so now you're able to make sure in a way that your daughter doesn't grow up with some of those beliefs that hindered you for many years. And now, because you have grown, you're able to pass that on to your daughter so that she grows up with a different starting point. Yeah, which is wonderful. So she will go from strength to strength because of her starting point, which you have given her. So that's wonderful.
She was like, I keep telling her, I'm so grateful that you were born. You're kind of the reason why I have to push myself to make sense of this life so that I can be a good guidance,
Yes. Yeah, that's wonderful. So to wrap up, thank you so much, Anna. It's really wonderful chatting with you. As I said at the beginning, I love our conversations. To wrap up, I would like to say notice when that old paradigm comes up and it's starting to pull you back to the comfortable, to the secure zone. And it's really important. It might feel uncomfortable at first when you're moving forward into a new part of your life, something more, something bigger. It's important to reframe it and put it in a way, reframe it like this and say, it's good news. It's good news when that fear comes up. It's a sign that we're outside of our comfort zone and that we are growing. And what we like to say in my coaching business is we're on the green growing edge of becoming something more. So if you don't have it, then you're not going to become something more in reality.
Yeah.
Fear is a good thing. And those
feelings. Because just grow like the tree, the tree, just keep growing. It doesn't have any fear.
Yeah.
One branch and then we have another, and then have another, until it bear fruit. Just like that. If we think simply like that, just so easy. But
That's such a good analogy.
what I got now is like a few years of learning and hanging out with the right people and getting the right mindset. It doesn't have to be, it's a learned process. I am the evidence of that. I don't think it is like, I used to think it's gifted. I think people were gifted, like you yourself were gifted, but I don't think like that anymore. I was just grateful. I'm thankful that I
Yes.
believe that anyone I admire, I can learn from them. If they're willing to teach me, I can copy that, you know. And there's so many people out there wanting to help people to become successful. That's the
Thank
good news,
you, Anna.
including you.
Thank you so much. And for our listeners, we'll close now and we'll be back next month. I can't see if there's wait a minute, we do have a comment.
I got Joshua.
Joshua Lee. Oh, can
Mhm.
you see him too? Hi, Joshua. Lovely to have you here. Not sure if you're still on. But thank you for joining us. And we hope, Anna and I, you have gained something from our meaningful conversation today. Please put in the comments what would be your key takeaways from today. Thanks so much again. If you're watching the replay as well, please do so. And we will see you again in a month.
And share this wonderful conversation so somebody might benefit from, a story of overcoming,
Yes.
and from a wonderful repelling story of Karen's, and being led and being coached by Karen. You'll be blessed, because I can see, since we work together over 2 years now, all I see is respectful humility, kindness, and such a role model to look up to. Yeah, I'm really grateful for that, Karen.
Thank you, Anna, and I'm grateful to have these conversations with you. So on that note, we will say goodbye and log
Bye.
out.
Sure. Bye.